Video game that doesn't thrive on carjackings and punk violence, though destruction is definitely part of its program. It's called Spore, and Electronic Arts is betting big bucks that it's going to be contagious. This long-awaited video game, which some call revolutionary, is designed by the same team that created one of the most durable series in video game history, Sims. Joining us now, the man behind Spore, Will Wright. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You know, it's so successful. You were just telling me we wanted to show folks what it looks like to buy. You couldn't buy one on the way here.
Well, we were trying to call around the city, New York City, to find a copy, and it was all sold out, which is a good sign. So
it is. Now, how long will it take you to know how successful it is?
Oh, a few weeks we'll start getting sales figures, but you know, right now we're actually seeing what the fans are doing with the game, because everything they do in the game is uploaded to our servers. And so already we're seeing a spike over the last 24 hours. 3 million unique things have been created by the players as they play the game.
So they've already gotten into the action.
Oh, totally, yeah.
The action of evolution. Now, where did the idea come from?
Well, part of it was kind of my love of science since I was a small child, and I really wanted to make a game that was about all the sciences, all the way from like chemistry, biology, up to astronomy. And Spore really kind of...
physics?
In physics, yes, that's where it starts. But basically the game is about the whole universe, from the very small to the very large, the origin of life to the history of life. And so you start out as a single-cell creature, eventually you move up through intelligence, civilization, then you go out in space and you explore millions of worlds that are created by other players.
And it ain't for nothing that Albert Einstein got into the whole idea of creation too, and that got into his whole way of thinking. Did the concept, I mean, it's interesting that you are essentially asking a person to be an intelligent designer here of life.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic.
So you're taking a stand on this very controversial issue of whether it's intelligent design or not.
Well, it depends on how smart the player is, I guess. But in fact, you know, in the game, this is occurring over billions of years, many generations, so it's kind of straddling the fence. But if, you know, it brings up discussions amongst players about theology, philosophy,
it does?
That's great.
Have you made up your mind about all that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a definite point of view, and, you know, I think
that's more the
Einstein
view, because he eventually came to believe that, you know, it wasn't just a roll of the dice, that God had the dice and he was playing them out, or Richard Dawkins' point of view, which is sort of more of an atheistic.
Well, you know, it's funny. I think that that's kind of overplayed in a lot of ways, because most of the religious people I know actually believe in evolution.
It's true.
And a lot of the scientists I know are actually religious. And so I think we kind of play up this conflict between religion and evolution more than it really exists.
Now, how did you do the research? Did you actually go in and try to base the game on what we know about evolution?
Well, we tried to take all these aspects of life in the universe and turn them into toys, basically. You know, what if you had a toy species and you were playing through toy evolution? You had toy planets where you build ecosystems, biospheres. And so at every stage, it's kind of a caricature of science, but it's definitely inspired by science.
So you did do research in order to make it not necessarily a direct playoff of what we know about science, but kind of similar to...
Oh, we did a lot of research. We always do that, you know, on the games. But really what we want to do is we want to inspire kids to kind of get interested in science, not so much teach them facts.
And it cost, what, about $50 million to develop?
Something like that. I mean,
where were the costs involved in terms of the design? Where do you spend that money in designing a game like this?
Well, it's mostly headcount, you know. So we were working on this game. The team started growing about 5 years ago, and we shipped with about 120 people, you know, at the end of the project. So really the primary costs are the people, the skilled people that work on these games.
Now, you not only can plug this into your computer, I understand you're able now to download it onto your iPhone or your cell phone?
Yeah, right now, this week, we have versions out for the PC and the Mac, and for the iPhone and the Nintendo DS. And we're going to be doing other platforms later.
And the iPhone has enough memory for the entire game?
No, actually, the iPhone is just the
by
first
the way,
stage.
Do you call it a game? It sounds like a misnomer. It's not really a game, is it?
It's a little bit more than a game. A lot of it's a toy, and also these kind of creation systems, because in the game, you're actually creating your own characters, your own worlds, your own buildings, etc. And the players actually create most of the content that goes to our database and gets shared with everybody else. So you, in fact, have millions of players collectively building this universe together.
Now, you haven't seen everything that's in there, have you?
Oh, no, and in fact, new stuff is appearing daily, and like I said, you know, over the last 24 hours, we've had 3 million more objects that the players have made, and so no player will ever see all the stuff in the game.
And it is a process. I mean, the development of the game is an evolution. I mean, it is a process of evolution itself. It will continue to evolve as people play it.
Yeah, in this case, the fans are kind of the co-creators of the game, because they're coming in and having such a creative impact on the world for everybody else. So in some sense, now that we're launching the game, we're about halfway done. At this point, the fans are picking it up and finishing the development.
Where do you go from here? After creating a world, a new universe, what else can you do?
Well, that's just one way of looking at the world around us, one lens, and I think that there's so many different ways to triangulate the world around us. And, I'm looking forward to getting into other ones after this.
By the way, you knew this was coming. We've already got word that there is pornography.
Oh, yes. Yes, that was some of the first stuff we saw. We released the Creature Creator 2 months early, and that was one of the first things we saw in the first week. Yeah, and these are people doing anatomically correct creatures that walk around the world. We kind of saw that coming, and we basically put controls in the game so that players, if they don't want to see that, they can control the content coming and going.
Right.
But
now, how much interactive activity is there right now, and how much will that develop? We already know about the new creations that are coming from the people that are playing it, but what more do you have in terms of getting interactivity from the folks out there playing?
Well, it's an asynchronous game, so it's not like you're actually competing with other players head-to-head. It's not skill-based. It's more creative-based. It's almost more like Facebook, where when you're in the world, you're browsing this huge art gallery. Every creature you see was made by some other player. You can click on that creature, find out who made it, give them a comment back, I love that thing you made, put them on your buddy list, and so their stuff comes into your world. So it's kind of an asynchronous interaction with all the other players.
Well, you could probably do just about anything you want now. You don't have to work for another day of your life if you didn't want to.
Oh, really?
Are you
thanks.
interested? So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
But what would you like to do other than design games? Is this it for you, or would you like to start new businesses, or what?
Oh, no, there are plenty of other things I'd love to do. In the background, I've always been building robots. I've had a passion for robots for a long time. Yeah. Plus other media forms. I think games are a really interesting form of media because they're developing so rapidly right now compared to anything else. And I don't think they're really, haven't seen the boundaries to where games can go yet.
By the way, the development, evolution, robots, what about artificial intelligence? Anything about that concern you when you look at a movie like Matrix or something like that? I know Gary Kasparov, when he was playing against Big Blue, he got nervous when he realized that it was making moves that probably hadn't been programmed into it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was actually inspired initially into science and all these things by the movie 2001, which, of course, had HAL, this homicidal robot. And ever since then, I've been fascinated with not just intelligent machines, but what's going to happen when we build them, to us socially. We're going to be interacting with an alien intelligence that we can't begin to understand. And I think it's likely to happen in my lifetime.
So you think in your lifetime machines will evolve to the point where they can think on their own?
I do, yes.
And that doesn't scare you?
No, it does. It terrifies me. But it's also fascinating. I just can't wait to meet and talk to them.
Yeah, it's better to be a part of it, I guess, than just to sit back and let it happen.
Well, see, if I'm on their side, then maybe they'll let me live.
That's true. So. That's true. Will Wright, great to see you. Congratulations.
Sure.
Spore. If you can find it, go out and